Work can change you. Part 3. My body care is getting more and more in preparation for the exhibition.
That afternoon, as usual, I was in the shop. Sis Nia said, "Today, Mr. Alphen will come here to check the situation of the shop." And at 2 p.m., Mr. Alphen came. All employees without exception greeted him. Then when Mr. Alphen arrived in front of me, I also immediately greeted him. "Good afternoon, sir," I said. "Fiona, you can come to my room for a moment," Mr. Alphen said to me. "Yes, okay, sir," I said. I immediately followed Mr. Alphen to his room. Mr. Alphen sat in his chair, while I sat in front of Mr. Alphen's desk. "So, this is it, Fiona. In 3 months there will be an exhibition at the mall. Every year this shop usually participates, and usually it is a moment to increase sales. So I want you to come along to be on duty at the exhibition," said Mr. Alphen. "Yes, sir, okay," I said. "Later you just ask Nia, because she has participated too," said Mr. Alphen. "Okay, sir," I said. "Okay, thank you, Fiona. Now you can continue working," said Mr. Alphen. "Yes, sir," I said. "Later, please call Nia. Tell her to come to my room," said Mr. Alphen. "Okay, sir," I said. I went out of Mr. Alphen's room and immediately met Sis Nia to convey Mr. Alphen's order. "What's wrong with Mr. Alphen calling you earlier, Fiona?" Sis Nia asked. "Secret. BTW. You were also called by Mr. Alphen. Hurry up and go there. Mr. Alphen is waiting," I said. "I was told to go there," said Sis Nia. "Yes, hurry up and go there," I said. "Yes, beautiful. I'll go there now," said Sis Nia. "Hurry up. I was told to do that earlier," I said. I continued working as usual. Before I knew it, it was already 5 p.m. and it was time to go home. I immediately packed up to go home. "Hey, you said you were told to wait for Mr. Alphen," said Sis Nia. "Didn't Mr. Alphen leave the shop this afternoon, sis?" I said. "Yes, he said he will come here again." "Okay, you just wait," said Sis Nia. "Are you going home or do you want to accompany me?" I said. "I'll go home straight away," said Sis Nia. "Then how do I go home later?" I said. "Mr. Alphen will take you later. Don't worry, princess," said Sis Nia. "Okay then," I said. "Okay then, I'll go home first. Stay strong, beautiful," said Sis Nia. Sis Nia went home straight away, while I was alone in front of the shop, waiting for Mr. Alphen to come. After waiting for 10 minutes, finally Mr. Alphen came with his car. "Come on, get in, Fiona," said Mr. Alphen. "Okay, sir," I said. I got into Mr. Alphen's car and sat next to him. "What do you need, sir?" I asked. "Don't worry, just come with me first," said Mr. Alphen. "Okay, sir," I said. After about 20 minutes, Mr. Alphen's car finally stopped at a beauty clinic. Mr. Alphen then told me to go down to enter the clinic. It seemed that Mr. Alphen was meeting someone at the clinic. After he had talked for a while with the person, Mr. Alphen then approached me. "Fiona, don't worry, nothing will happen to you. You will only be given additional vitamins and hormones, so that you are more perfect," said Mr. Alphen. "Yes, okay, sir," I said. "Now you just follow that person to the doctor's room," said Mr. Alphen. I followed Mr. Alphen's words and followed the person. After arriving at the room in question, how surprised I was. It turned out that Mrs. Jessica was sitting there She was seen wearing a doctor's uniform. Her hair was loose, but still neat, and the combination of a doctor's coat, knee-length skirt, and not to forget the pair of high heels she was wearing made Mrs. Jessica look beautiful and elegant as a doctor. "Mrs. Jessica," I said. "Hi, Fiona," said Mrs. Jessica. "Do you work here?" I said. "This happens to be my beauty clinic," said Mrs. Jessica. "Oh, so that's how it is, ma'am," I said. After I got there, I chatted and was asked questions by Mrs. Jessica. She said that I would only be injected. Mrs. Jessica said that all of this was Mr. Alfin, who asked Mrs. Jessica to intervene directly to provide treatment to me. After I was injected and finished, I was allowed to go out. Mrs. Jessica said, "I have to come here every 2 weeks to do the same treatment. And from now on, Mrs. Jessica will also contact me to give consultations about beauty and how to take care of my body and others. I don't know what will happen to my body later, but what can I do? I can't refuse Mr. Alfin's orders. This is all to support my appearance, and it's in the work contract that I've signed." After leaving the clinic, Mr. Alfin invited me to eat together first. After finishing eating, Mr. Alfin immediately took me home to Sis Nia's apartment. But before going home, I asked Mr. Alfin to stop by to buy food for Sis Nia. "Knock, knock, knock. Sis Nia," I said, while knocking on the door. "Are you home already? How was the date?" Sis Nia said, teasing me. What's wrong, sis?" I said. "Well, that's all you're angry about," said Sis Nia. "Went out with the boss. Why did you call it a date?" I said. "Who knows?" said Sis Nia. "Who knows what?" I said. "Who knows? Maybe you'll be the boss's girlfriend." "Hi hee hee," said Sis Nia. "Ew, never mind, sis. I'm tired. I want to rest first." "Oh yeah, this is for you," I said. "What's this?" said Sis Nia. "This is your food," I said. "Well, this is it. You didn't forget about me. It turns out you're kind too, Fiona." "Hi hi," said Sis Nia. "I've been kind since long ago, sis," I said. Then I got ready and took a shower. After that, I changed clothes and chatted with Sis Nia. "Fiona, are you going to the exhibition later?" said Sis Nia. "Yes, sis. I was told to, right?" I said. "Yes, I was told earlier," said Sis Nia. "So you're coming too?" I said. "No," said Sis Nia. "Huh. Why, sis? Why aren't you coming?" I said. "It's your turn. You're also prettier than me. That's why Mr. Alfin chose you," said Sis Nia. "No way. Sis Nia is prettier," I said. "Yes, I am prettier," said Sis Nia. "Ew, why are you praising yourself?" I said. "This year I'm just supervising. I'm not guarding either," said Sis Nia. "Oh, so that's how it is," I said. "But do you know that later you have to wear sexy clothes?" said Sis Nia. "Huh, does that have to be the case, sis?" I said. "Yes, you have to attract more attention, and many people will buy. Maybe your clothes will be even sexier," said Sis Nia. "I just found out, sis." "Then what should I do?" I said. What? You don't need to worry. Don't worry, I'm here. But you have to start getting used to taking care of your hair, body, and others," said Sis Nia. Okay, sis," I said. "And also, get used to wearing sexy clothes. Beautiful. Hi he, said sis Nia. Yes. Okay, sis. I'll try it later. Right now I'm still a man. What's the shame in wearing sexy clothes like that? I said. Are you sure you're still a man? Why do men watch dramas but cry hi he, said sis Nia. If that has nothing to do with it, sis, I said. A month has passed and I've been taken to the clinic twice and injected with additional hormones as usual. I'm starting to feel a significant difference. I feel more feminine now, starting from everyday behavior to unpredictable emotions like women. On the other hand, I actually don't want to go too far to change into a woman, but it can't be denied that I'm starting to feel comfortable and enjoy being a woman. I'm starting to love my life now. However, I have to continue with what I've decided because I'm the one who signed the contract. Rather than being bothered, thinking about things that might not happen, I'd rather try to enjoy my life right now. As usual, I was at the store. Fiona, it seems like there will be a holiday later. Nani will come with us, okay? Said sis Nia. Where are you going, sis? I said. A holiday. Aren't you tired from working all the time? Said sis Nia. Oh, okay, sis. I'll come with you, I said. Yes, it will be crowded, with all the employees here, said sis Nia. Excuse me, is this really Mr. Alphin's store? Suddenly a man's voice was heard from outside. Yes, that's right. What do you need? I said. I'm Rendy from the supplier, he said. Oh, supplier, but why did I just see you? Said sis Nia. Yes, sis, because the previous person has resigned, so I'm replacing him now, said Rendy. Okay, you just check the warehouse directly. Fiona, you accompany her to the warehouse. Okay, to check with her, said sis Nia. Yes, okay, sis. Let me take you, I said, while pointing the way to the warehouse. Please, just come in, I said. Thank you, miss, said Rendy. Yes, you're welcome, I said. Aren't you going, miss? Said Rendy. I have to supervise you. It's no problem. You just do it, I said. Okay then, said Rendy. While I was supervising, he did his work. He checked what stock was out, then old items and others. Unconsciously, I kept staring at him without blinking. I don't know why. His loose hair plus his white skin. I, as a man, also agree that he has a pretty handsome face for a man. I'm done, miss, said Rendy. Okay then, I said. Yes, miss. Let me introduce myself. My name is Rendy, he said. My name is Fiona, I said. Fiona. A nice name, and she's also beautiful, he said. Kay, just call me Rendy, Fiona, and it seems like we're the same age, said Rendy. Why did we suddenly become close? I said. This is my number. If you need anything, goods or stock, you can contact me, said Rendy. Okay, fine. Let's go out. You're done right, I said. Then I escorted him to go out. How is it done? Said sis Nia. Okay, sis. Everything is done, I said. Okay, good then, said sis Nia. Then I'll take my leave, sis. Thank you for accompanying me earlier, she said. Yes, no problem, I said. Rendy then said goodbye and left using his delivery car. It was already evening. Sis Nia and I went home to the apartment. That night we just rested while snacking and chatting casually. As planned yesterday, I was invited by sis Nia to go with the other employees on vacation so as not to get bored of working all the time. And it happened to be a holiday. Sis Nia and I got ready. Now I am good at doing everything myself, starting from wearing a bra, and even makeup I can do it myself. Although not good at it, just simple makeup. Because our intention was to go on vacation, so the clothes I wore were black panties and a bra with lace, then black tights and a black blouse with a motif on the sleeves. As usual, I was always with Sis Nia, and of course I hitched a ride with Sis Nia. Sis Nia and I headed to the meeting place, which was at the shop. When we got there, it turned out to be still quiet. Only Sis Nia and I were there. This is a habit. Everyone really likes to be late. Sis Nia said, grumbling to herself. Yeah, where are you guys? Why haven't you all arrived? I said. Not long after, there was a car approaching towards Sis Nia and me. From a distance, I recognized the car. It was Mr. Alfin's car. Nia, Fiona, why are you here? Isn't today a holiday? Mr. Alfin asked. Here, sir. We all plan to go on vacation and gather here. It's just that you haven't arrived yet, Sis Nia answered. Oh, I see. Wait a minute, Mr. Alfin said. Then he seemed to take something from inside the car. Here, to buy more snacks for all of you, Mr. Alfin said, while giving some bills to Sis Nia. Wow, seriously, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Alfin, Sis Nia said. Thank you, Mr. Alfin, I said, also expressing my gratitude. Yes, you're welcome. Fiona, Mr. Alfin said. Yes, sir, why? I said. Be careful. Don't let anything happen. You have to join the exhibition soon. Mr. Alfin said. Yes, okay, sir, I said. Nia, take care of Fiona. Don't teach her strange things, Mr. Alfin said. Okay, sir, okay, Sis Nia said. Then I'll go first. Have fun for everyone, said Mr. Alfin. Then Mr. Alfin left us both. Not long after that, the other friends started to come one by one. We immediately went to the planned destination. Finally, we all arrived at our destination. The first thing I felt when I got there was the cool and fresh atmosphere. I haven't been to a place like this for a long time. We enjoyed the atmosphere in the tourist area, while occasionally joking with each other, enjoying the scenery and chatting. Then we sat down and relaxed, while buying some food, singing, gossiping, and so on. I didn't expect. It turned out to be fun with all of them. I also felt that the life of a woman was also fun. We had been there for quite a while and felt bored. We all agreed to plan to go home, but changed our minds when Sis Nia said something. Friends, let's not go home yet, said Sis Nia. Why is that, Nia? They said. So before you all came to the shop, Fiona and I met Park Alfin. Then we were given this, said Sis Nia, while showing the money given by Park Alfin. Finally, we all did not go home, but we went to the mall first to spend the money given by Mr. Alfin. So I just went with them all. When we arrived at the mall, someone had the idea to watch a movie, because there was a new movie. After leaving the cinema, we went to a restaurant to eat. Then we went home immediately, because we were afraid of being out late. This was a very pleasant day. When I arrived at Sis Nia's apartment, I immediately took a shower and cleaned myself up, put on my pajamas, and went straight to bed so that I could be ready to work again tomorrow. Today is exactly a week before the exhibition day. Mr. Alfin asked me to come with him after work. After work, I immediately got into Mr. Alfin's car. It turned out that Mr. Alfin wanted to take me to Mrs. Jessica's clinic again. When I arrived there, I met Mrs. Jessica and went into her room. Mrs. Jessica said that this time there was a special treatment. She would inject something into my 2 breasts that had started to grow. The effect of this injection was to enlarge my breasts instantly for the exhibition later. When Mrs. Jessica said that, I was actually worried. I was afraid that my breasts would not return to their original size. But Mrs. Jessica said that this was only temporary, and after a few weeks, the effect would disappear. I could only accept it for my sake and for the exhibition later. After all the processes were finished, Mrs. Jessica escorted me out, but I didn't see Mr. Alfin. "Mom, where's Mr. Alfin?" I said. "Mr. Alfin is on business, so he went first, and you, Fiona, later I will take you," said Mrs. Jessica. "I see. Thank you, ma'am," I said. After Mrs. Jessica was ready, we both finally left the clinic. Mrs. Jessica said that before taking me home, she wanted to take me somewhere. When I asked what place, she didn't want to answer. "You'll find out later," she said. After a few minutes, we finally arrived at the place Mrs. Jessica meant, which was a salon. She said this salon belonged to her friend. Then Mrs. Jessica invited me to go in. After going in, Mrs. Jessica met her friend who was the owner of the salon. They talked about a few things, while I just sat waiting for Mrs. Jessica. After finishing talking with her friend, Mrs. Jessica then approached me. "Fiona, just obey me. I've talked about everything. Later, when you're done, I'll come back here to pick you up," said Mrs. Jessica. "Come on, miss, follow me," said an employee there. It turned out that Mrs. Jessica had been talking about me being served at this salon. Finally, I was taken to the salon chair to get all the treatments that Mrs. Jessica had prepared for me, starting from nail care, waxing, to my hair being tidied up, because I had never been to a salon to get my hair tidied up before. This is the first time I feel what it's like to go to a salon. It's so much fun to be served and pampered in a salon like this. I don't know why I enjoyed it so much that I didn't realize it was over. Now my hair is nice, neat, fragrant, and nice to look at. I thought about showing off my new hair to Sis Nia. I kept looking in the mirror to play with my new hair. "Fiona!" I heard someone calling my name. "Pa Alfin," I said. "Are you done?" said Pa Alfin. "Yes, sir," I said. "Okay, let's go home," said Pa Alfin. Why did Pa Alfin pick me up? Didn't Mrs. Jessica say she would pick me up? I was a little embarrassed because it turned out that Mr. Alfin was the one who picked me up. I followed Mr. Alfin into his car. After I was in the car, I actually wanted to ask why Mrs. Jessica wasn't the one who picked me up, but I felt embarrassed, so I decided against it. It wasn't that important. What was more important was that I could go home. "Fiona," said Mr. Alfin. "Yes, sir," I said. "You are very beautiful tonight," said Mr. Alfin. My heart was beating very fast hearing Mr. Alfin's words. My body immediately became stiff, nervous, and couldn't move. I was even sure that my face was as red as a tomato. Time passed, and Mr. Alfin got closer to me. Meanwhile, I could only stare at Mr. Alfin's face. There was a kiss between me and Mr. Alfin. A very passionate kiss. I seemed to forget everything when it was happening. Mr. Alfin's hand that touched my neck, then stroked my skin to my hair, made me even more unconscious. A sensation that I had felt for the first time so far. "Fiona, Fiona," said Mr. Alfin. Then I woke up from my sleep. "Fiona, wake up. We've arrived," said Mr. Alfin. I, who was still half conscious, tried to remember what actually happened. Oh, yeah, I just remembered. Earlier on the way home, I was sleepy, and it seemed like I fell asleep in Mr. Alfin's car. And was all that a dream? but it felt strange, as if it was something real that I experienced. I also just realized that my underwear was wet. I immediately covered it with my bag. Hopefully Mr. Alphen didn't see or realize it. Maybe it was just a dream. I immediately said goodbye and thanked Mr. Alphen. When I arrived at the apartment, it turned out that Sis Nia was already asleep. Luckily, I would have been embarrassed if I had been caught. My body felt really tired. From morning to night, I still hadn't gotten enough rest. I decided to take a shower and then immediately went to bed, following Sis Nia in bed. A week before the exhibition, I also had more intense contact with Rendy via chat to make sure that I really understood the material that I had to study for the exhibition later. In fact, now I chat with Rendy almost every day. After getting to know each other, it turns out Rendy is not as annoying as I thought. Plus, he is a gentle person, so it is fun to chat with him. 3 days before the exhibition, I have mastered all the materials that Rendy gave. Now all my preparations are complete. I feel relieved and not anxious anymore about the exhibition. I feel very helped by Rendy, so I plan to thank him. Rendy, thank you very much for helping me, I said. The important thing is that there is a reward, said Rendy. What do you want in return? I said. How about treating me to a meal? Said Rendy. Okay, you choose the place. I'll treat you later, I said. Okay, I'll pick you up tonight. You dress up beautifully, said Rendy. I immediately opened my closet to look for suitable clothes to wear tonight. What's wrong, Fiona? You look like you're panicking, said Sis Nia. I want to go out with Rendy tonight, I said. You guys want to go on a date, right? Said Sis Nia. We just want to eat together, sis. This is also my way of saying thank you to her for being willing to teach me, I said. Okay, I believe you. Ha ha ha, said Sis Nia. I wore a green mini dress with a flared skirt, and I also wore stockings and heels. Around 8 p.m., I got a message from Rendy that he was already in front of the apartment. Luckily, I had been ready since 7, so I looked back in the mirror to make sure my makeup was neat, and my clothes were perfect. I then said goodbye to Sis Nia. Remember, virgins don't come home late at night, said Sis Nia. Yes, sis, just go for a while, I said. Don't let Fiona get all pregnant. Hi hee hee, Nia said. Oh, what are you doing, sis? I said. Okay, be careful, Fiona, said Sis Nia. I felt a bit nervous tonight. Unlike usual, my heart was beating faster. Hi, you look very beautiful, said Rendy. Hi, thank you. Okay, let's go. It's getting late, I said, and the two of us went to the restaurant. According to Rendy's destination, the two of us ate there while chatting about many things. We also joked around occasionally. After we ate and chatted for quite some time, I asked to go home because Sis Nia had warned me not to go home too late. Finally, we decided to go home straight away. When I was about to enter Sis Nia's apartment, our faces were right in front of each other. Suddenly, Rendy brought his face closer to mine. I just stood still in front of him. Then he got closer, and suddenly he kissed my lips.
To be continued, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Thank you.
In the dark, where secrets hide, whispered dreams that won't subside, silhouetted in the night, endless passion sets alight. On the floor, where rhythms blend, pure desire.